is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a Tuesday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Tostitos, the official chip and the official dip of the Dallas Cowboys, live from the Star in Frisco as we continue to take a look back at the Cowboys' 44-20 win over the New York Giants and start looking ahead to the New England Patriots today, week 6 of the NFL season. Plus, we've got fan calls on the way today coming up here in about 10 to 15 minutes. Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
I'm swell.
Swell?
Yeah.
You've got your burger joint cap back on.
Doggone right. Always rocking Seattle, baby.
Rob?
I'm swell, too. He got 5 hours of sleep. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm impressed by that.
That's a good night.
That's
a good night, Robbie.
That's not enough for me.
Tonight won't be that way. A lot of film study tonight.
There you go.
Won't be that way.
Got to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Heckma?
Peaches.
Peaches? Like the peachy
like the peach you gave yesterday?
The, the smelly sticker for Dalton Schultz yesterday?
How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing all right. News and notes. Anything come out of yesterday in terms of the Cowboys?
Injury-wise, they seem to be still okay. Ezekiel Elliott is very sore thanks to a pylon. But other than that, they seem to come out of the game pretty clean. We got some estimated timelines on some guys on IR. Doesn't sound like anybody's back before this bye next week. Tank could be another month. Gallimore could be another month. Although Jerry said on the fan today, they're always kind of conservative, and then maybe guys get back sooner than we think. So we'll see. And we're also waiting to see if there's an official ruling on Lyle Collins' case against the league, trying to get his suspension blocked.
When does that come down?
Whenever Judge Mazant decides to rule on it. They had the hearing on Friday, and nothing came of it. And there was a report that maybe it was coming down yesterday. We didn't hear anything. So.
But no way he's playing this Sunday. This is more of a trying to recoup game check sort of deal right now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem likely last week because it was Friday. If there's a ruling today and if he gets an injunction, a TRO, whatever you want to call it, and they have a full week of practice, I guess you can't rule it out. Now, Jerry was asked about it on the fan, and I think he was just saying, I don't have any knowledge. I don't have anything to say. We think we're going to have him back this week. But good news is Terrence Steele is playing out of his mind. He's been very, very good at right tackle.
Mind.
He's been in his bag.
Out of his mind. I like that.
Do you agree with that? I mean, in terms of Terrence Steele, because it's hard to look at that situation and say that it's been poor so far. I mean, the Cowboys ran the majority of the time to the right side, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this coaching staff has done a really incredible job of putting him in a position to succeed and not fail. I mean, I think going back over the film and watching the way that we did the two pulling guard set and just allowing him to just step down or seal on the DB, that does him well. That's an easy job for a guy his size. They're still chip blocking and giving him help over there, but really proud of the job that Terrence Steele has done and doing. We have one more week until Lyle Collins comes back. And so I know there's a lot of controversy brewing. People want to put out there about Terrence Steele, but done a good job. But when LC comes back,
Rob P., how much do you think our success to date is going to have on the effect of our guys, Gallimore, D-Law, those guys getting back healthy? Right? Do you think that our winning pushes their timeline back a little bit versus the obviously on the opposite end of that? If we were losing, we would be trying to hurry up to get those guys back.
That's a great point. I mean, this athletic training staff better than anybody here.
Unfortunately,
yeah. I mean, they're not going to put anybody out there that's not ready to play and risk injury to somebody. Yeah. But that's a good point. I mean, with the kind of depth they've got on the D-line right now, I mean, you want Tank back as soon as you can get him. Gallimore too. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to force things at this point. And those are significant injuries. Anytime surgery's involved for Tank, and then, Gallimore, they said all along it was going to be, multi-months most likely. So
there's a chance right now that, let's just throw it out there, what-if scenarios. What if we got Hill, Gallimore, and T-Law and D-Law back all the same week? What the heck would that do to our defensive line?
And Joseph.
Our rotation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would
crazy to think about.
That would be a long way, because D-Law's probably further off than both Hill and Gallimore, just based off of the injury, right? Is that's about right there?
Yeah, it very well could be an 8-week type of injury. Yeah, and that happened. Which game? I'm losing track here, but yeah, I mean, he's not. I don't think he's coming back right after the bye. I would be surprised about that.
I think there's a chance Gallimore comes back after the bye. Maybe Hill, if that's a chance. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm asking the question in terms of our success. Like, yeah, maybe they could come back, but it's like, let's let them chill, right?
You're saying that's a good problem to have?
It's a great problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, and are they kicking the can down the road because they recognize that there are going to be some big decisions that are on the horizon?
Absolutely. That, and if you continue the success, right, now you're not necessarily getting guys back for the season, you're getting guys back for the future in terms of the playoffs. So all those decisions have to start being made, right? Do I really need to get them back to win these games? Really not. I feel like we can handle this opponent with the crew that we have. But 3 weeks from now, we're facing Kansas City or whatever it may be, right? Maybe I want those guys back for that game.
How do you feel about our current depth then on the defense?
I love it. I think all the guys that are playing in the games are contributing, and I think even the guys that aren't contributing on defense are contributing on special teams. So you got Nashawn Wright contributing on special teams. He hasn't had to play defense yet. You got what's the linebacker?
Cox?
No, not even Cox, but
Neal?
No.
57?
Gifford. Thank you. Sorry about that, Gifford. Gifford, I see him out there on special teams all the time. Right. So even though they're not getting live action reps on that 1/3 of the game, right, they're controlling the other aspect, and when that's out there on punt return, kickoff return. So they're still getting live reps. They're still getting game reps and effective reps because they're having a positive influence on the game.
Man, having fresh legs and fresh players later in the season is a huge opportunity for your ball club, because nobody else does that. And also to speak to the thought process around it, having those guys come off of reserve and come off of these injuries and be healthy again is going to be great later on if you can push it down the road. But there's no way you go from week 6 of the season to week 17, week 18 and not have another injury along the way that you're going to need those guys. So you'll have some pieces to fill in, but
Don't you put that voodoo on us, Kyle. Don't you put that voodoo on us.
I'm sorry. You have to put it down. We've been clean the last couple of weeks, but that's not always going to be the case.
I am so very
But it is going to be nice later on down the road of seeing, man, we've got so much depth here. We've got so much going on that where you can really rely on some of these better players, quote unquote, to come back and make significant impacts.
And where do you create room to bring those guys off of PUP/IR? I mean, you do, to your point, there is a 3-week window for guys to start practicing, and that's how you can kind of slowly ramp a guy up if you want to take those full 3 weeks. But I mean, Jalen Smith was part of that thinking too. It's like we've got to create room because we got help on the way, man. And if there's not enough snaps to go around, you got to make those hard decisions.
Yeah. And that's why I think the advantage of winning helps, because there's kudos to this training staff. I know them all too well. But the reality is in football, hardly anybody's 100% after week 1. So knowing that nobody's 100% after week 1, you're putting guys back on the field not at their complete best. Right? I'm going to set that foundation first, right? Those guys are doing everything they can to make sure guys get back right, but nobody is 100%. Okay, so you might be coming back, right? If you're Gallimore, maybe you're 85%, right? You're good enough to have an impact on the game, and if we're losing, I'm going to put you out there, right? Because I think that you're still good. You're not going to re-injure yourself. But if we're winning, I can hold the horses a little bit, and now I can put you out there when you're 95%. Right,
yes.
because there's other guys out there making plays, right? At 95%, because nobody's 100, right? So, or maybe guess what? Maybe we're just killing it, and I really don't need you right now, but I really want you for the playoffs, and now I can maybe get you back to 100% because you haven't had to have any reps against you, right? So that's kind of where my thinking is with this, and it's a luxury. It's a luxury to be in that position. I mean, everybody in Cowboy Nation should be excited about that.
And the bye plays a role in it as well.
Yes.
Knowing that you have a guy, maybe if he's at 85%, you got another 3 weeks before you have your next game. So I think all of that benefits us, and we're just fortunate to be in a position where we have a pretty big young group of players that are the catalyst for what we're doing right now. So that's just awesome to have. But when you talk about guys like Gallimore and his impact on the defensive line, he was already getting there. During the preseason, you saw the way him and Osa was playing. And just think about Osa. Osa played every preseason game, and he's played all. I mean, where is he at right now? That's got to be about 10 games for him, the rookie.
Yeah.
That's a lot of burn.
I'm really excited to see Hill, though. Because Hill, before he got hurt last year, was playing really well.
Yeah, he was trending upward.
He had a motor now. He had I think his energy that he brings on the defensive front fits perfectly with what they're doing right now, and I can't wait to see the impact that he has when he comes back.
And he's going to have to bring it with all the guys that are making an impact right now. Because if he doesn't, I mean, he might be one of those names.
That's anybody.
Very good chance. I mean, exactly. I mean, that's really anybody that steps into that spot. And Heckman, you mentioned it a moment ago, but the reason you're in this position right now where you feel like your depth is better than it ever has been in multiple spots is because of the youth. It's because of guys like Micah Parsons coming in and making an impact. Osa Odigizua, of course. I mean, you don't even have your second-round corner, yet Trayvon Diggs is a second-year corner, and he's having the best season of any cornerback the Cowboys have had in decades. So, I mean, this youth of this defense is what makes this Cowboys season look so promising and so exciting, because you then look at it from a future standpoint, and you don't want to fast forward too much. I retweeted that the other day from Brad Sham. I think you did it as well.
Yeah.
Where you don't want to fast forward through a season that could be special.
Yeah.
But, man, it's hard to look ahead when you have so many young pieces that are playing so well early on.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of 2018. That was kind of the message, and that team struggled early on, actually, before they traded for Amari Cooper. But they had young guys playing in key spots. I mean, they had Michael Gallup playing a lot. Leighton Vander Esch was a starter. Connor Williams was a starter. They were young in a lot of spots. And I think that the message that Jason Garrett had that year was, we're just going to keep getting better. And that team got better as the year went along. And there's a lot of value in a young player playing right off the bat, because the only way you get better is with experience. Right. And I think sometimes depth on a team, sometimes hesitancy from the coaching staff, guys don't get that opportunity. They've been forced into this position for some of these spots on defense just because guys have been banged up, but it can pay off. Guys have to earn it. I mean, Osa Odigizua has earned it.
Yeah.
But it can be a blessing in disguise, like we said, and then now you got help on the way. And if you got some hard decisions a few weeks down the road, that's only a good thing, right?
Yeah, and young guys that are making an impact as well. I think when you start seeing the way that the defense was being put together by Dan Quinn and the guys from his previous stops coming in and the free agents, you wondered how that mix was going to be put together. I think the enthusiasm is one thing that you see as a group, what they're doing, and everybody is buying in to what Dan Quinn is putting down, right? But it's these young guys and their ability to read and comprehend. And I think without a solid foundation under them, I think we'd be seeing a lot different from them if there was the previous guys or whatever. And I don't want to throw anybody in the bus. I'm just saying we see them being good at what they're good at. And just seeing how, for me, Micah Parsons' ability to not only play multiple positions and understand, it's something that's going on in the film room, what they're teaching, that you're seeing Osa Odigizua, the way that he is at the point of contact, the way that some of these other young players are playing. That's just a testament to this coaching staff and the way that they're bringing these guys through the system. And I think it's so exciting about where this team is going in the future.
Goes back to that hands-on approach we talked about at training camp. I mean, seeing Dan Quinn out there with the young guys, and most notably, I mean, Odigizua might have been one of the early guys that he talked to the most, him and Parsons. I mean, he was in every rep. He was talking with them more often than not. Usually with guys like Kelvin Joseph, Trayvon Diggs, he leaves that to Al Harris and some of the other DB coaches. Dan Quinn got in the mud whenever it came to Osa and Parsons. He wanted to teach them one-on-one, and you're seeing some of the benefits.
Yep, that dude's a dude.
It's almost like you've been with him before.
Yeah, I want to say I have foresight because I've been around him, so I knew the impact that he was going to have. That's why I talked so much about culture, leading up to this season. I just knew the impact that he was going to potentially have over this group, and it's kudos that these guys are buying in.
Yeah, we talked about how we enjoy listening to his press conferences because you kind of feel like you learn something every time. Something just bell went off in my head yesterday when he talked about how I hate the term. He said, I hate the term what a guy can't do. I want to focus on what a guy can do. And I think that speaks to your point of finding a guy's strengths. And like, I think Parsons is a perfect example. We're just going to throw a ton of stuff at him and see what he can handle. And it turns out he can handle just about everything, but specific, and this isn't unique to coaching, but I think he has a great way of finding guys' strengths and figuring out within a rotation, within a system, how it fits. He has a clear vision for every player. I mean, you could hear it when he was talking about Osa on draft night.
Yep.
He had a clear vision of how he wanted to use him, and I think that's expanded with the way Osa's playing. But that's coaching. I mean, that's having a vision and putting it out on the field.
Yeah, the youth is making this really exciting through 5 weeks of the season. When we come back here on Talkin' Cowboys, give us a call. We want to hear from Cowboys Nation. 888-855-2297. Once again, that is 888-855-2297. Fan calls, Cowboys Nation, when we return to Talkin' Cowboys.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
It is a great people, great pay replay here on Talkin' Cowboys. You've heard that Jason Witten has joined the Caliber Collision team. If you want to join him to do great work with great people for great pay, you can apply now at jobs@caliber.com. Once again, that's jobs@caliber, CALIBER.com. Welcome back in to Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Tostitos. Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, with the chip and the dip.
Still trying to figure that out, Kyle.
It's okay.
It doesn't feel natural.
What was that?
The chip and the dip. I'm trying to figure out the technique.
You did it in the open. You look good in the open.
Kind of like a rip move, like a pass rush.
Just kind of ripping underneath it.
So the dip is it at the bottom of the
chip
dip?
and dip. Yeah.
All the way to the bottom.
At the bottom, and then you bring it back up with the dip just shining in the light.
Oh.
Yeah. That Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the Dallas Cowboys.
Shout out
and
to Tostitos.
Rob Phillips here
P.
as well.
Yes.
I'm Kyle Yeomans. I was going through the names before we kind of put a halt
I thought
on
you
it.
said. I thought you were saying it was my official chip.
Oh, it is Rob Phillips'
official chip and dip. Rob Phillips.
Is it in your pantry too?
Absolutely,
It's in
it is.
mine. I know that much. I like the little lime ones that are really good. All right, we've got fan calls from Cowboys Nation. We've got Mike from New York on the line. Mike, I feel like I just talked to you on Friday. You were our guest selector on our Pick'em segment. I haven't looked at the records yet, so don't ask me how you did. But how's it going, my friend?
How's it going, guys? That was me on Friday. Obviously been a Cowboys fan my whole life, of course, growing up since I just want to say, I'm obviously happy the Cowboys won and stuff, but I want to see us start out a little better in the game. I feel like these slow starts, I know what happens. It's the National Football League, but I feel like I like to see us come out and I know the first quarter was only 3-0, but I'd like to see us score touchdowns right off the bat. I mean, I know it's when you play a divisional foe team, it's a tough matchup, but these slow starts are killing me.
Making it a little bit more nervous, I think, for Cowboys Nation overall. Thank you for the call, Mike. What do you think about that, though, Rob? When you talk about these slow starts and not having at least the early parts of the game where you feel like it's already in hand, it hasn't really been that way yet.
I would call it slow start. I'm trying to think. I not off the top of my head every game, but I feel like this was kind of an exception so far this season. They've gone down, if not the first drive, then the first couple drives, gotten in the end zone, gotten points, gotten leads. I will say, the first quarter was reminiscent of last season before Dak got hurt, where they were shooting themselves in the foot and playing catch up from there. And I think Isaiah hit on it yesterday. I mean, you play a better team than New York, bad things are going to happen if they cash in, because the Giants weren't able to until late in the game. But you can't do that against a contending team in the NFC.
I'm trying to look at, and maybe not slow starts is probably not the best way to do it, but I mean, you've only been up by multiple scores at halftime one time this year, and that was against the Eagles. You were down against Carolina. You were down against Tampa Bay. You were up by one score against the Giants, and then you were up by a couple points on the road at Los Angeles. So it's not like you're really dominating first halves. It has been a second half team, no doubt, from the start, from the rest of the year, or for the first 5 weeks of the year. Do you think that's a contributing factor to anything specific?
I think people have to understand this. The first half is the most difficult for an offense. Reason being, you're going to get the best the defense has to present to you. They've seen your film and what you've done to date, right? They're going to present packages based upon your personnel that you put on the field. So you might have your first 15 plays like people always hear about and on the offensive side of things, but the defense, they know exactly what they want to do and how they want to stop you, right? So they know based upon the film that they've watched how to take advantage of you and how to cause issues for you. Now, as you settle in to your offense, now you know what they're doing. And now on the offensive side, you can now respond and make the corrections, because they're not going to make a whole lot of defensive changes during the game, right? So defense has an advantage early on in the games. Offenses usually have the advantage in the later half of the game, simply because they're now reacting to what the defense is presenting to them. So understand that from the player's perspective, how things go. I'm not worried by these quote-unquote slow starts. I was more concerned about, what we talked about, Kyle, in terms of the turnovers. But Dak already addressed that. We almost had 3 turnovers in that first quarter. That's bad. That's what we can't let creep into this offense, and just think that we just have so much offensive firepower that we can just overthrow these mistakes. So I'm more concerned with our ability, hopefully our ability to not turn the ball over versus the other side in terms of just slow starts. I'm not too concerned with that at all.
You can also say that you almost had 3 turnovers in the first half against Carolina as well.
Yeah.
A couple fumbles from Dalton Schultz. The
for sure.
From Zeke
That's what I'm saying. It's back-to-back weeks. Yeah.
I mean, you've almost had a bunch of turnovers. Is that something that could creep up on this team, Heckma?
No, absolutely it can. And I agree with both of you guys was saying. And I think that those first, like you said, the first quarter is all about figuring it out. If you watch the fight, these guys, they don't come out throwing their best stuff in the first round. It's just about figuring each other out. And I think we did that. But I also thought that we moved the ball really well in that first quarter. It was just, obviously, it was the errors that we continue to have. It was the interceptions, all the things that you guys have already talked about. But, it's if our second half play is going to be as explosive as it has been in these first couple of weeks, then, man, I'm all for it. Because when we come out in the third quarter, it's like we got our foot on that gas and we are standing up on that motor all the way to the fourth quarter. So I really like the way that our offensive production was. But again, it was just the errors that we were having against New York. I think that against a team like the Patriots, when we know Belichick is going to have whatever Belichick brings to this game is probably going to be the blueprint that every team that we play after this week is going to bring. And we better be ready. We better be ready for it, because if they have any success, everybody's going to use that, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm really excited about this next matchup, but also excited about some of the things that we're going to do as far as our coaching staff. It's going to be, man, this is going to be a for real chess match.
Oh man, that makes me a little nervous moving forward because of the blueprint that Belichick could present.
He's the best evaluator in
No
the
doubt.
game. He's going to make all of the adjustments. So I mean, it's nothing that he hadn't seen.
Yep.
Yeah. And as Dan Quinn, or maybe Mike said it, he's so great at taking away the best thing you can do, and so you've seen it in Super Bowls, you've seen it over the years, and they've got different personnel this year, but they still have him as an X's and O's guy. I just looking at the first quarter, just from a point standpoint, 3 points against the Giants. That was a season low in the first quarter. They only had 7. Look, that was a good defense they were playing. And, they had some trouble with their blitz and some of their pressure packages early in that game. But they scored 14 and 14 against Philly and the Chargers. And, 7 against the Bucks, good defense. They've played some good teams. I mean, I don't think they've had – I wouldn't qualify it as slow starts compared to some of the legitimate, I think, slow starts they've seen 2019,
We've seen some slow starts.
I see mainly an offense, like you said, that has been able to really move the football kind of at will. And they are wearing teams down in the second half with their run game for sure.
Less of a slow start, more of a second half explosion.
Yes.
Than anything, I think, for this offense. And maybe you want them to do that in the first half, but we just haven't seen it to that point yet. All right, let's go to G from Jersey, our guy who G, I feel like we talk to you every week, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's on the show. But how you doing? You're on Talkin Cowboys.
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. I'm telling you, man. I'm behind enemy lines here in New York, man. And I'm walking. I'm walking like Ric Flair. You know what I mean? I'm feeling good, man.
Hi, G.
But real quick, guys. Every team is going to bring their best punch against the Cowboys. We know that, right? Like it doesn't matter how good or how bad we are. Every team is always going to show up against the boys. But this year, it looks like we've responded and we've reacted better than we have in previous years. But I have 2 questions, man. I feel as though that this week's game against New England, it's a must-win. Why? Because we've dropped 6 straight against New England, and we're going against the GOAT at the coaching helm, right? Nobody better than Belichick at getting those guys ready. But I feel like we have to take advantage of their deficiencies. They have no home run power on offense, but defensively, they're going to be ready for whatever it is that we have to offer. So how much of a must-win going into the bye is this one for us? And, Rob, I got a question for you. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you if you thought that we needed or if we could make a move, right? And we've mentioned all the guys we got coming back on defense, but offensively, Cedric Wilson is stepping up and showing out, man. And we got Michael Gallup that should be back in a few weeks as well. Would it be wise to look at adding a starter potentially with a piece like Gallup, considering he's a free agent this year? Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Appreciate you, G.
That's a great question. I mean, that question's been kicked around like for a year or so now.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't think you're going to re-sign him, do you try to get a draft pick? That kind. I have never been when you have a team that can really win it. Am I getting ahead of myself?
No, keep going.
If you have
Say it with your chest.
If you have a team that can contend, and I think this team can contend this year, I don't think you sacrifice depth at a key position. I guess he's talking about maybe a different position where you need help, but I just think when you have a guy that as talented as he is, you play out this season, you try to maximize that strength on offense, which that's your strength is your passing game, and then you worry about next year later. That's just my philosophy on it. But I understand the thinking because Cedric Wilson, he's up next year too, and I mean he's playing like a guy who could start for somebody next year as well.
What do you think about that?
Man, that's a tough one. Simply because Cedric Wilson has been producing, and you know that when Gallup comes back, he's going to produce as well. It's not as though you're replacing a guy that hasn't been productive in this offense. So I'm really curious about that. But you've seen this coaching staff man, they are not afraid to move on and do what's best for this team. And so that's why we talk about the big decisions that are coming. I think, it's going to happen one way or another when Gallup does come back. When a lot of these guys come back, I think we're going to see a whole lot of movement in-house.
Don't touch your roster anymore.
Really?
No, not this year.
Okay.
Not this year. We have too many pieces. There's going to be guys that end up on IR. All of a sudden, guys get IR designations when guys come back. That's going to happen, but you keep those guys on your roster. Reason being, you handle the offseason when the offseason presents itself. When you have really good players that can add to the success of your team, why would you get rid of those guys right now? Except for the anomaly that just took place with Jalen. That was a contractual issue. That was protecting your team for the future. But in terms of the guys that you have remaining on this roster, don't touch them. If they ball out, let them ball out, and you deal with that in the offseason. Dallas is not a team that's hard to attract people to this team in the offseason should we need to replace those guys. So let them ball out, let them help your team, and go out there and contend for a doggone ring.
The only thing I have with that is that even if you – and just to play devil's advocate, I don't want to trade Michael Gallup either or Cedric Wilson or anybody. Let me just put that out there. But just to play devil's advocate, you're talking about adding a player at a position of need rather than taking away from while you take away from a strength. I don't want to do that because I like having all of those weapons to throw the football to. But if you were going to pick a position that's overloaded with talent, it's wide receiver.
It is.
And then you could add somewhere else.
It is, but Amari Cooper's been banged up every game this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great right now, and we've talked about that at certain – I'm trying to think of the position where, they had so much depth and then maybe they don't all of a sudden. That can happen. So Cedric Wilson's a free agent next year too. Yeah. I mean, and the other thing, heck, I don't know if you agree with this, but I mean, I think the lack of deep plays – in the passing game they've had, I think is probably mostly a product of the way defenses have played them. But Gallup presents that element. And maybe as good as anybody in the receiving core.
No, he does. And that's why I'm saying that I agree with Isaiah when he says don't mess with this team. But I think everybody can see that there are other weaknesses that quote unquote we have on, say, the defensive side, all right, with the big plays and I just gave him a smelly sticker, so I'm not going to point it out. I'm just saying that if you can move on from a guy or get a guy that's better in his place, why not take advantage of that opportunity when you know that chances are you may not be able to keep this guy next year? The front office knows contractually the guys that they may or may not be able to keep because of the salary cap. And so you're in we can win this right now mode. You just said it with your chest. And so if any opportunity – half chest. But any opportunity that you have to get better, I think they will take advantage of it. But you're right. Michael Gallup is the guy that takes the top off of the defense. So you have to keep that proponent. And also at some point in time in the season, and I'm going to knock on wood, there's going to be something that's going on maybe with Coop. There may be with Lamb, and we may need that extra body. We still have Simi Fajuko. We still have Malik Turner that's coming off of IR. And we're just going to be able to handle our business. We're going to be able to handle our business, and I feel really comfortable about the guys that we have in the 3 and 4 on our wide receiver at that depth.
You mentioning your smelly sticker and Anthony Brown. I mean, that was the first name that popped in my head when you thought about upgrade at a position. It's not even just replacing Anthony Brown. It's just having another stout corner. Because, I mean, Anthony has been solid. He's been a decent corner this year. Sure, he's had his laps and he hasn't been good in certain situations. But from an overall standpoint, he's been solid. You could go get a dog for Michael Gallup if you really wanted to, but I'm with you. I don't want to trade Michael Gallup. I don't want to mess that up. You've got a good thing going from a wide receiver standpoint, but if there was a position to do it, it would probably be right there in that second corner slot.
Just real quick, I think the position I was thinking of was edge rusher. Like all of a sudden within a 1-2 week period, they lost 3-4 rushers due to either COVID or injuries, and it's like a position can hit you out of nowhere during the season. We learned that last year.
You learned it last week as well. Look at the Giants. I mean, you're lucky it didn't happen to you, but you saw how quickly things can turn on a dime and your depth is all of a sudden evaporated. You never want that to happen, and the Cowboys certainly don't want it to happen here. All right, Eli in Corpus Christi is on the line. Eli, you're on Talkin Cowboys.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are y'all doing? Hopefully everything's good. Always easy on Victory Tuesdays.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
4 in a row. Like, man, too good to be true, or it's just like when we were down to the Giants, my girl was like, man, this team is just like I don't know if they're going to win this game. I looked at her, I laughed. I was like, no, we're going to dominate. Just wait. Look, just wait. It's like a baseball game. They play it like a baseball game. They start off slow, then the relievers come in, and what I mean by that, they start hurting people, and then boom, the top comes off. Another point, and Gallup changes the offense completely. Like, it's exciting to watch. Don't get me wrong. I like Cedric Wilson, like what Noah Brown does, but it's like every time he's out there and the ball goes deep, it's going to him. I mean, even this last game when CD caught the ball, is it me or was that the first time he caught one running a 9 route? Because usually I see him running across the field, catch the ball, make some yards or whatever, but that seemed like it was a pass that would have normally gone for Gallup, which opens up the field, you know what I mean? But I love being a Cowboy right now. It's amazing. Like, it's so fun at work, and I work at home, so you know what I mean? I love it. My girlfriend's asleep right now. I can't wait to wake her up. I'm sure because she loves when I come on the show, even though I sound like a dork. But
no, man.
I love you guys. Y'all have a great Tuesday, great Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Can't wait for Sunday.
Yes, sir.
325, baby. Talk about Judon. That's it. How do we stop it?
Okay. That's definitely something. That's a topic of conversation we're going to have throughout the week. Thanks for the call, Eli. And I feel that sentiment. It is a lot of fun on Victory Tuesdays.
It is.
And he made a great point there. CeeDee Lamb, for the most part, does a lot of his yards after the catch. Does a lot of the underneath the defense sort of deal. And if he is over the top, he's usually running a post route. But he did run a seam. I mean, it was that straight up seam down the honey hole right side and fit it on the money. Great throw from Dak Prescott. But what did you think about that point?
Come on, wide receiver extraordinaire, analyst, former football player. Tell us about CD.
I mean, CD's doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, there's only one ball, right? There's one ball. So, I mean, everybody's not going to kill it. And you don't want everybody to kill it, right? If everybody's killing it, then we're doing what we did last year, which was trying to play from behind. So, I mean, we're in a great position. Coop is doing what Coop needs to do. We just talked about he's not 100%. As I talk about 85%ers, he might be at 85% right now. But guess what? It's good enough to be effective on the field.
Yeah.
Right? So his 85% is a good thing. Exactly. I mean, you play with a fractured rib and a tweaked hamstring, you're not anywhere near 100%. I'm sorry for those that think that everybody on the field is 100. That's not the truth, right? So he's out there taking care of business. CD's doing what he does. We talked about it before the game even started. Like, hey, he may not have a game where he's going to be that dude, right? But he'll do the other things, right? He'll block downfield for Zeke, and Pollard. He'll also take the top off of things and keep things open for Coop. It's complementary football. It's complementary football. And yes, to his point, Gallup does bring a different dynamic to this team. You can't just say, oh, well, we're doing well. Let's forget about the guys that helped us get here. No, Gallup is an intricate part to this offense. He is our go route runner. He's our guy that stresses the safeties and the secondary. He's going to allow us to have greater plays because when he goes and he takes those posts and takes those safeties out of the play, guess who's coming right behind him? Doggone Coop, doggone CD, right? Coming on deep ends, coming on deep posts. Those are the big plays that are allowed to take place when you have somebody who can get on those guys.
But didn't it just show you how dangerous we really are when you see CD being able to run that go route like that? And he may have some validity to that. They're not seeing him do that in previous years, but you always knew that was in his wheelhouse to be able to beat guys deep in coverage like that.
It's one thing. Again, it's just coaching staff. Guys, we have a lot of talent on this team. Guys are capable of doing a lot, right? Just to the point, the reason why Parsons is fully capable of being a defensive end, and you like seeing him at defensive end.
Yes.
I don't like seeing him at defensive end. I know he's capable of it, but that's not what I want him to do. Right? So we have guys like CD where, guess what, he can do go routes, he can do all these things, but guess what? That's not what we need him to do. We need him to be our possession guy. We need him to be our possession guy. Why? Because Coop is our guy who's going to get double teamed. Gallup's our guy who's going to take the top off. CD is our guy that we need killing things underneath because we don't have a Edelman. We don't have an Amendola. We don't have any of those guys that are like underneath just particular route type guys. So everybody plays their role, and guess what? When you're called to duty to do something outside of that, yes, I'm capable of it, but that's not something I should be doing majority of the time.
So specifically, the coordinators are saying, like, this is your role.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're the guy that's going to take the top off. You're my possession guy. You're my utility knife in all of this.
Absolutely. It's the same reason why. Was it Noah Brown? It's Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson. We typically, when we see them in the game, what are we thinking?
Run.
Why? Because their role is to be big physical receivers that block and allow for us to get the big runs down the field. But what happens from time to time? You see them do what?
Sneak out on you,
catch the ball, right? Doesn't mean they're not capable of catching the ball. It just means that that's not their role and their duty or primary duty on this team.
That is the beauty, though, of this receiving core, that they all can pretty much play anywhere. Cedric Wilson, you can plug him in the slot, you can plug him outside. He's a great backup receiver to have because there's really not a spot or a technique or something that he can play.
You saw what he did. I mean, with the catch over the shoulder and so many different things.
That was so good.
It was such a
These
beautiful
guys are professionals.
I'm just saying.
That's
a next level catch.
I think people forget that these guys are professionals. They're literally professionals. You guys could take what? How many receivers we got on the roster right now? 6? All right, so 6 times 32, right? Teams, whatever that math is, right? They're the top that number in the world. In the world.
The best of the best, as Jason Garrett used to say.
Yeah, literally, we're just not talking about the United States. We're talking about the world.
Yep.
So put some respect on all these guys who make a roster's name, regardless of what you see them do on the field or not. They are capable, more than capable of what they're allowed to do on the field.
Chris Beam did the math in the back. That's 192, by the way.
That's a small percentage.
Come on now.
Top 192 in the world. And what they do. And Cedric Wilson's one of them. And goodness, he was good on Sunday. He can do so many different things for you. All right, let's take our second break. When we come back here on Talkin' Cowboys, we'll continue on. Maybe take another call. We may talk about Coach Mike McCarthy when we return on Talkin' Cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more. Essilor on Talkin' Cowboys.
That was a nice production value. Look at those.
Did you see this little swoop?
Yeah, the little swipe technique by Chris.
Yeah, look at that.
I like it. I like it, CB. Way to be a team player, sir.
Chris Beam knows how to get it done in the back, and he also has hooked us up with one more fan caller. What's up?
Essilor, sorry, before we get to the fan, Essilor took care of my daughter yesterday.
Yeah?
And yeah, she got her her favorite color is purple. She got some dope little purple reading glasses. You know, my daughter's diabetic, so we have to protect her eyes for longevity, all that jazz. And they, of course, I went to the best, and they took care of her. So shout out to Essilor. Thank y'all very much. I hit y'all up on Twitter. But my baby girl had a great experience. Obviously, that's girl dads. We're very protective of our littles, so we want to make sure that they get the best.
She get a transition lens?
I'm not sure.
Should ask Mrs. Stanback. Okay, my bad.
That's the wife.
My bad. I put you on the spot right there. Yeah, my bad.
But she's happy.
See the look on his face. He looked up.
She's happy. She's hyped. Yeah, she's hyped. So thank y'all very much, Essilor. I appreciate y'all taking care of my family. Thank you.
Yes.
Shout outs to Essilor. We do actually. I mean, we really do enjoy having Essilor as a partner because they have been nothing but outstanding with us. All right, we've got one more caller. Josh from North Carolina is on Talking Cowboys. Josh, what's on your mind?
How we doing, gentlemen?
Swell.
Great.
First of all, I want to thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I enjoy listening to you guys every day.
That's awesome. Nice.
I'm going to have the pleasure of coming out in December with my wife and my 2 boys and coming to a game. And so I'm looking forward to it. My boys are looking forward to it.
I know it, man. That's going to be exciting.
Well, my wife's a Washington fan, so I'm hoping it's going to be a bad day for her. Yeah, I know. But I'm raising my boys right. That's all it matters.
Good. I was just about to ask, what shirts are the kids wearing?
Oh, they're going to be in Cowboys gear.
That's good. Okay, good to know. What's going on, Josh?
So, looking at all 3 phases, I think we're putting together a great season. I feel like we're on the right track to make some heads turn, if you will, this season and the postseason. So my question for you guys are experts in this area because you guys are around the team, you're in the locker rooms, you're at practices. If there was one thing that you could change or add to this team, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, whatever the case may be, what would you do to get us over that hump, to get us further into the playoffs, maybe into a Super Bowl? Appreciate you guys' call. Thank you for all you guys do.
Appreciate you, Josh. Fantastic question. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Go for it.
I want to see us do a better job on special teams holding up on punt return.
Okay.
And holding up means simply guys are rushing. They're taking about 3 steps off the line aggressively, and if their guy happens to not respect them, then they can still come and get a block. But most of the time, you're coming with a lot of energy as if you have intent to block, and then you're holding up their guys from going down to cover our punts. The reason why that's important is kind of looked over, kind of the play that goes right to commercial break. If the better job we do at that line of scrimmage on our punt return team, right, with our guys coming off the ball, grabbing their guys and holding them up, the longer we hold them up at the line of scrimmage, the better opportunity we have for our returner to have a return. Every 10 yards that our returners get, that's a first down we don't have to worry about on offense, which inches us closer to being able to score more points. We talk about getting faster starts. We get a better hold up, we get a faster start. We get a better hold up, we get more yards. We get a better hold up, we get more points. So that is what I would like to see. I know most people don't pay attention to it. Me being a special teamers, I do. I think we can have a huge impact on our entire team if we handle business in that third of the game.
You saw that a couple times last week, right? Because there was one play where both Goodwin and Wilson went the in and out.
Great job. Yeah, they did a great job. Yeah, that was on coverage. That was on coverage, though. Yeah, that was on us. That was us covering. I'm talking about us actually returning it. But yeah, those 2 dudes, that was an impact though. Seeing 29 and seeing said go down there, they in and out of that thing perfectly. That returner had nowhere to go. That's our coverage. That's awesome. But I want to see us actually get some more return yards.
And to the naked eye, nobody even pays attention to that. People, that little thing that you're talking about right there never even occurs in someone's mind that could be something to help us when you say take that 10 yards away. So that's a one less, first down that we have. That's awesome. How do you come behind that? What do you want me to say?
Yeah, what you got, Jack?
I don't know. No, if I had anything that obviously from watching the New York game was just watching Biotish and was wanting to see if there was a problem with the snap. I thought that the one down at the goal line was pretty much kind of both of those guys because Dak took his eye off the ball. I don't know if that was about timing or communication. Nothing has ever come out about it, but I think over the first couple of games when we've seen from Biotish just in the middle of our offense, especially with Connor Williams having some holding penalties against the Eagles or whatnot, that's one part of our offensive line that I'm always kind of nervous about. But how can you be nervous about something when you have 2 running backs that are balling the way that ours are? So, I'm just picking at straws here to try and come up with something to be concerned about because those guys are really having a good super start to the season.
For sure. I would. It's hard. I'm not nitpicking this defense because they're young and they're really playing well. They're playing hard, fast, with energy. But there are things they got to clean up. They're still giving up some big plays in the passing game. The red zone defense. I think Giants were 2 for 3 down there. I just think there's going to be a game or games where they're not getting 2 takeaways a game.
Yep.
And you can't rely on that every single week. Maybe you can. I think they got the longest active streak of any team right now, going back to last season. But those have been the difference makers on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be able to have that every single week. So you got to clamp down some of those big plays defensively. And I think, again, as we talked about first segment, this is a young team, young defense that's still growing in that regard.
No, I think I'm right there with you. I think the big plays is what scares me the most moving forward, because if you don't have the turnovers and you have the big plays, at some point some team's going to build a lead on you pretty quick. They're going to hit you early. I mean, look at what Indianapolis did early last night. Came out and really they struck with the Jonathan Taylor run early on and were able to get after it. And teams will do that to you at some point down the road, and it's going to make things tougher for you on the back end. All right, that's it for us on Talking Cowboys. Join us tomorrow. We preview the Cowboys and the Patriots. We go Patriots offense, Cowboys defense. Can the Cowboys slow down rookie Mac Jones and company up in New England, trying to get their first win in New England since 1987. All right. For Heckma Harrison, Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips, Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow on Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!